Today, how bad was your last experience at the airport? Is it too heavy-handed, or is it not rigorous enough? I'm joined by Dave Bryon, former managing director of the low-cost airline BMI Baby, now an after-dinner speaker on aviation issues. Welcome to you.
Also from Birmingham, Dave Bryon, who's the former managing director of the budget airline BMI Baby. Good morning to you too. What would you...
Dave Bryon was one of the team who set up low-cost carrier Be My Baby.
In its current guise, the security measures placed major implications on both the operational and commercial viability of low-cost airlines. Certainly to the airports, ideally 20-25 minutes, which they have to get the bags off, get the passengers on, get their bags on, and turn the aircraft around. Now, at the moment, that is really can't be done. The changes that have been made today are a help. The ability to carry one bag on, albeit small, is a help. But until we get back to the original model that was operated up until last Thursday, then it's going to be very difficult for airlines to operate as they are now.
My place, so Sally Traffic walked into the studio, was given, I think we'd say, the warmest greeting of the week.
It was sort of a semi-snog, really.
My wife is probably listening.
We're just doing
a very lucky woman, let me say.
We're doing a demonstration of new frisking techniques. That's what's happening here.
Yes,
now,
it was airport techniques.
But you have the expert in what to take on and what to take off the plane, Sally.
Yes.
David's sitting next to you, and I know you have a serious question to ask him, so go ahead.
Well, how much makeup can I take, or can I not?
Well, glad to know you're listening to the show, Sal.
According to the rules, you have to have all your makeup in a 20 centimetre by 20 centimetre bag. That's like a freezer bag, Sally. And
freezer bag?
A freezer bag.
She has waiters and servants. She doesn't deal with that stuff.
And it has to be less than, each item has to be less than 100 millilitres. So I don't know how, you probably, will you need more than that?
Mascara then?
Will you need more than that for a day?
Well, I should think probably, yes.
Slowly the bags will start to return to normal, and as David said, airports will learn to adjust. There's always been a love-hate relationship between airlines and airports. Airlines work on very tight margins. Airports are assumed to be fat cats. They're very profitable creatures, very profitable pieces of real estate. So that tension was always going to be there. The first 24 hours, great, they all work together. Then you start to see over the weekend some animosity develop.
Kind of the idea of travelling, like go to Rome for the weekend and just have a backpack and you get off the plane and you don't wait at the baggage carousel. Yeah. That's basically going now, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot. And we talked about business travel earlier on. The problem is if you put your toiletry bag in, as usual, if you don't want to put any whole baggage, just cabin baggage, normally you just throw it in the bag, take it with you. Now you suddenly realise your aftershave, this isn't you, Sally, your aftershave or any item. To anything. Well, toothpaste is normally okay unless you're a heavy user of toothpaste, because it's probably less than 100 millilitres. But some of the bigger items, your big shampoos, can't be taken. And you should see the pile of stuff they're collecting at the airports.
And they are ruthless, aren't they? They don't muck around.
Well, they have to be. That's their job. They can't
expect the budget airlines to be facing as a result of the past week or so, Mr. Bryon?
Well, firstly, the problem you've got is August is their busiest time of year, and it's their most profitable time as well. Most of the airlines make an awful lot of money in August. It's the peak holiday season and people paying high fares. So we've seen an immediate impact through cancellations and potentially lost bookings for this peak month. That's the first problem. The second problem you've got is, as you mentioned in the intro, the ongoing issues with the operational side. Airlines work to a very, very tight schedule. They get maximum usage from not only the aircraft but also their crews. Any change to that forced by these new security measures, long-term change, will have a drastic impact on the way they operate.
I think it's important to say that, you do have procedures for complaining, both, at the airport and post-airport. And if you feel that any individual, you could take their name right there and then, and you should follow that through. And I'm sure all airports would encourage that. But, you can't, to suggest, as we're perhaps implying here, that there is some degree of perversion or they're getting sexual gratification out of it, I think it's totally wrong.
All right, we'd love emails and calls on this. Thank you very much to Anne Moffat, Labour MP for East Lothian.
No, certainly airlines, and you've heard Michael O'Leary say that ideally he'd like to offer free flights and make enough money out of the passenger through what they call ancillary revenue services, excess baggage, onboard sales, and anything you can sell the customer when they're in your possession, if you like, during the flight and at the airport. So certainly I think you'll see the costs stay low. It's not a simple industry. Fares are different prices, and you can't just add a pound on here or a pound on there. The model doesn't work like that. Revenue management systems for airlines are very complex beasts. The other area is, as you continue to grow, you've got huge economies of scale. So you see the likes of EasyJet and Ryanair that carry 30, 40 million passengers now, have over 100 aircraft. They can survive now, they can absorb these costs and continue to grow and get economies of scale.
And David Bryon, thank you both very much indeed.
Thanks as well to David Bryon, aviation consultant, after dinner speaker. Give us a couple of tips just to finish off with, David, because so many people are listening to this very intently.
I hate to be boring here. Preparation. Do as much as you can at home. You can now sort your bags out in terms of paying for them. You can check the rules and regulations, and more importantly, you can even check in online. And the other thing I'd say is don't try and beat the system. Don't try and take something through, because they'll get you. And again, the baggage weight allowances. People don't weigh their bags at home. Weigh your bags, because a number of times checkouts hold it with people just taking stuff out of bags, rearranging it, and even wearing it.
Wearing it onto the plane.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us.